Zygons, and welcome back to another episode of the greatest show in the galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. Almost got confused with Doctor Who Revisited for a second there, but yeah, you should check that out on my channel. We'll get to that at the end of this episode. But today, we are continuing our discussion on the Doctor Who anniversaries in celebration of Doctor Who's birthday, essentially the 23rd of November. And as the thumbnail and possibly the background suggests, today we are talking about the 50th anniversary, The Day of the Doctor. I love this title both because it's the day the Doctor saved Gallifrey, and it's also literally the Doctor's 50th birthday, the Day of the Doctor. Always really loved that double meaning in the title. And of course, I've got two guests on. You really got a massive treat today, fans of the show, all three of you, that we are actually having today the two people who are the reason why I even have this show in the first place. Because back last year, sort of around this time, they've invited me to be on their show to talk about my favorite show of all time, Doctor Who. We did, what was it called? Rewind the Tape, I think? No. Well, I'll let them explain because they invited me to talk on their Recapping the Past. That was the name of it. They invited me for Recapping the Past to talk Doctor Who, and it sparked my love of Doctor Who all over again. And yeah, that is the reason why I have this show now. So I'll just stop boring you with the details and invite both of them at the same time. Roughly say hello to Sanchoos and Granddad and Chinny. How are you guys doing? And also, yeah, so are you Sanchoos and the dog is Granddad, or is that the other way around?
All the way around. I'm the one because I'm the one with the gray hair, and his because of the skin color, the fur color, I should say. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I got a little wibbly wobbly there. How are you doing, both of you guys?
Good.
So
And it's sometimes I forget that we're the ones that created the monster, so to speak.
Recapping the past. Wow, that takes me back.
Yeah, the last year.
Yeah, that takes you back to the past.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I mean, let me move forward and we move on, right? We put the past behind us.
Yeah.
You gotta put your behind.
behind.
Damn it, Soda!
You're both going for the same joke.
Well, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Oh man.
Speaking of something that happened in the past, birthdays. Birthdays happen to some people in the past, and they're still celebrating it in the future, right? Or in the present. So yeah, the birthday section, pretty big today, and somehow, I don't know how we managed this, but once again, the people in the birthday section somehow tie into the topic that we are talking about. I honestly don't know how this keeps happening, but I'm just thankful that it does. So from the week of the 8th to the 14th of November, we have, well, I'll just say this up top. I don't have pictures for all of these, so just bear with me for a second. For the first is Lenny Mayne. He directed some of my favorite episodes from the John Pertwee era, namely The Curse of Peladon, The Three Doctors, The Monster of Peladon, and also in the Fourth Doctor era, The Hand of Fear, which is Sarah Jane Smith's final episode as a proper companion. But I mean, he directed both the Peladon episodes, the two-parters, and also the first ever 10th anniversary, the Three Doctors, the first multi-doctor story, which is pretty cool. On also on the 8th, we have several people. We have Richard Curtis. He was an executive producer on Doctor Who and the Curse of Fatal Death, the best Doctor Who spoof ever made. And he also wrote Vincent and the Doctor. So yeah,
Oh, nice.
blame this guy for the tears you get whenever you think about Van Gogh from now on. On the 9th of November, we have Ian Hollard. He mainly played small roles, predominantly on Big Finish. But when I actually looked up the list, this just such an extensive list that I just could not, in good faith, leave him out of the circulation here. He was in. He played two roles in The Company of Friends. He was in Primeval, Invaders from Mars, Neverland, something we're going to talk about in a small way next week. He was in 2 episodes of the Gallifrey series, A Storm of Angels, the Doctor Who Unbound series. He was in the Companion Chronicles, in the Cybermen series. He was also on the TV show proper in Robots of Sherwood. He was in an adventure in time and space. Yeah, he was an adventure in time and space. He was in the Dark Eyes series. He was in the Iris Wild Time series. He did so many things in Big Finish and 2 things on actual proper television that obviously I just could not leave him off the list. He's just too important.
What his name again?
What?
His name.
What's his?
Ian Hollard.
Okay.
Okay, so next, and this is what I was talking about earlier about how it ties into what we're talking about. On the 10th, on the 10th of November, we have Claire Higgins. She played Ohila.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, in The Night of the Doctor, the special where we saw Paul McGann regenerating into the War Doctor.
We literally just watched right before we did this.
I mean, why do I feel like we just saw her? I mean, this woman did just see her.
That's why I didn't say anything. I was trying to maintain the air of surprise. But yeah, she also then later returned on 2 occasions during the Peter Capaldi seasons. Also on the 10th, we have Don Henderson. He played a character called Gavrok in an episode called Delta and the Bannermen, an episode that is almost universally hated, except for me, because I'm weird like that. Sometimes I just love these episodes that everyone hates in Doctor Who. And honestly, there was like 2 more other people who were in that episode who had birthdays this week. But I chose to focus on this guy specifically because you might not be able to recognize him from his face, but he was actually also in Star Wars, A New Hope. Yeah, he's the guy that Vader chokes in that scene in the where I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Gotcha. The very first person we from that board meeting. Shit.
Yeah, I find your lack of faith disturbing. That's him.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
what was that Doctor Who episode you like?
Delta and the Bannermen.
Why is it hated so much?
I'm gonna be truthful here. I have no idea.
Oh wow.
I don't know
Wait.
what people's beef with that episode is. I like the forbidden love with alien green army man people and I don't know. It's a weird one for sure, but I love it. On the oh yeah, and he also passed away on 1997 apparently.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty sad. But something that's not sad, occasionally gloomy. Also on the 10th, Neil Gaiman. Yeah, because Neil Gaiman was a writer. He wrote The Doctor's Wife and Nightmare in Silver, 2 episodes of Doctor Who. But I mean, it's Neil Gaiman. Of course, I have to have him on the list, right?
Yep.
On the 11th, we have Will Brenton, another one we don't have a picture for, but he was the director and writer of a stage play called Doctor Who Live. So I felt like it was important to at least acknowledge him on today's list. Also, hold on, is it the 11th? Yeah, I'm nailing this, by the way. On the 11th, we have Angus Wright. First of all, this is the character. This is the guy I really, really wanted to have him on here because he played one of my favorite characters from the Sarah Jane Adventures, Mr. Dread in the Vault of Secrets. But he also played an iconic character from the 70s, except he played it on Big Finish in the Diary of River Song series, Magnus Greel. if you don't know who Magnus Greel is, the Talons of Wang Chiang. Look it up.
I know
Yeah.
that episode.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, so that one. Also, on the 12th we have Paul Mars. It's spelled Paul Margs with a G, but I believe it's pronounced Paul Mars. Yeah, he wrote a buttload of Doctor Who Big Finish episodes from all around, from the 8th Doctor to the Companion Chronicles to the 5th Doctor, Iris Wildtime. Yeah, he wrote a lot of stuff, and his name continues to pop up in Big Finish regularly. So, gotta point that out. On the 14th, we have Russell Tovey.
Yes. Alonso!
Yeah, he played midshipman Alonso Frame in Voyage of the Damned, as well as coming back for a cameo in the End of Time, David Tennant's final episode as the Doctor, as well as coming back for the Lives of Captain Jack on Big Finish for an episode alongside John Barrowman as Captain Jack.
And
so if you want
to, for mainstream audiences, who was he in the Arrowverse? The Ray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot. Ooh.
Yeah, you remember that crossover, Ben? It's the one with the evil.
Yeah.
He was the one in the current internment world. The superhero, the Ray.
You know, people say that's a best crossover. I don't know if I agree with that. I like the first one better, personally.
It's been a while since I've watched it. It was a good one.
I would be with one of those people who think this was the best, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's for another show.
But yeah, so if you want to know how his night with Captain Jack what actually happened there, go look it up on Big Finish.
Oh, awesome!
And on the 14th, lastly, also on the 14th, to wrap up this list, we got to finish this off with the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann.
Oh my God!
I did say it all. Somehow, I don't know how this keeps happening, but somehow the people celebrating their birthdays somehow coincides with the topic that we're doing. It's a weird Doctor Who thing.
Can I say something real quick about that picture? Bring it up one more time.
Yeah.
Isn't he only kind of look like Tom Cavanaugh right there?
Maybe just the hair.
Familial resemblance, I'd say. Like a cousin twice removed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can see it a little bit. What astonishes me is, have you guys seen the Disney's Three Musketeers from the early 90s?
Oh, I love that. There's other scene other than that.
That very foppish guy that D'Artagnan is fighting with when we first meet him.
Yeah.
That's really annoying. That's him. That's Paul McGann.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's like, when we first see D'Artagnan, he's like fighting against this guy whose honor he threatened. He's like the bully. He's got his lackeys. He's kind of comes off very, sorry for the word, but very fey. That's Paul McGann. Paul McGann played that part. I nearly had a schwitz when I saw that.
I'm adding that movie to the list, by the way.
That's a great film. Yeah. Sorry, Bear. All right.
Okay, so if I'm allowed to finish,
sorry,
the long list of people we talked about, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. So now that we've gotten that long segment out of the way, let's move on to what is probably going to be an even longer segment. The Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
I just love this poster right now, and also speaking of which, I love that they put McGann on this poster, even though he wasn't even in the special. But yeah,
it was a big deal that they brought him back for it because it validated it in a way. Like, yes, he was in Human Nature. We did see the drawing, but just to finally see him get his due, this is his regeneration scene. Like it felt like a big deal. I remember it.
How long was he the Doctor for?
Well, so
he still is technically,
but officially, like between when he started and when he regenerated, 15 years ish.
Well, I mean, how
19
many
years.
how many seasons?
No,
Like,
only in the
None.
movie.
He was in a movie, and that's it.
oh, okay. So, the reason 8, the TV show ended with 7?
Eccleston, yeah. So the original series ended with 7, yes. And
Yeah,
then
so
in the
that's the
movie,
point.
7 regenerated into 8. They actually brought back Sylvester McCoy.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when Rick came back in 05, it was just Eccleston. They didn't have it. So everyone assumed, that McGann at some point transitioned, but it turns out that wasn't the case.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it was and just the whole transition from the Eighth Doctor to the War Doctor and then the Ninth Doctor, it mainly came about because Eccleston refused to come back for the 50th. Because he
Which
was
is
still
why we got the
having,
War Doctor.
yeah, he was still in bad blood mode with everyone involved in the BBC, and he's since said in multiple interviews that he still stands by his decision because look at what we got out of it. We got the War Doctor. He even says like me refusing to come back gave us one of the best actors in the world as the Doctor, and it was a great story, and everyone loved it. So. Yeah, he still stands by his decision.
Which is true. But it would it's a great what if, though, if Eccleston had come back. It's a great what if to think about.
Yeah.
Do you know if, like Tennant, really Eccleston a fan of Doctor Who growing up? Do we know that?
That I do not know.
Well, not as big as Tennant or Capaldi, but he did like the show. I mean, I think at one point he was doing a Q&A for Big Finish when he recorded his first box set, and one of the questions he was asked was if you could do an episode with any Doctor, who would it be? And he just straight up said, if I had the opportunity, I'd like to do an episode with Patrick Troughton, but since that's never going to happen, I'm just going to say no one. And that was about it.
Yeah, no, it's nice that he's come back. It really is.
So should we just jump right in and talk about the episode itself, or do we want to dedicate a few minutes to discussing the Night of the Doctor, which we just watched right before starting this recording? Ben saw it for the first time.
Well, actually, I do want to ask you before we do that, 50. When it comes to the Day of the Doctor itself, did you see it in theaters, or is that possible in Israel?
It wasn't playing in theaters in my area.
Okay. Because I saw it.
It's really hot in here, so I'm just opening some windows because I can't.
Yeah, because I saw it night of. Like I saw it the day it dropped, and then I went a week later for my friend's birthday and saw it in theaters.
Was it packed?
Oh God, yeah. And
yeah.
it was packed, and people popped when Tom Baker appeared. And spoilers.
Spoilers. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Well, I did. Yeah, but anyways, no. It felt like going to a Marvel movie. Is the best way.
Well, I wasn't a fan back then, so forgive me if this sounds ignorant. Was it real known that Tennant wasn't coming back for it?
Oh, yeah. It was a big deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like now.
Well, think about it this way. It was like when they announced Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman. Remember how big that was? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was kind of a well-known thing that Tennant was going to come back. He's been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
He's been asked about it for years, and he kept saying that if given the opportunity, he will be back. And the best thing about it, he will still come back for Doctor Who for who knows how many years.
Which is true.
Well, which one is he? I can't tell.
He's the one on the right, the old man. That's from the season 3 finale.
That's the last of the Time Lords, and that was him and the Master in that episode, in that picture right there.
Okay, and then you recognize the Master.
What was different about Tennant was the hairstyle for this, because he was doing Broadchurch at the time, so he couldn't get the haircut to do the normal hair that we know his Doctor with.
Oh,
which I will say, a lot of people were not a fan of that decision.
Yeah,
a lot of people hated it.
Who I say, grow up.
What?
Sorry.
Yeah, but to contrast that, a lot of people loved that he does have that hair when he came back in The Power of the Doctor recently.
Right, a slightly older version of it, but yes, was pretty cool to see. I'm so curious to see what the change of the style of clothes is, but that's for when that comes out.
So,
I mean, why me?
yeah, we believe what. So I'll ask it again. Should we jump right into the episode itself, or should we talk about Night of the Doctor first?
I didn't jump right in.
Yeah, I'd say jump right into. Like, I mean, really, there's not much that we miss in the Night of the Doctor. Basically, it's the one character who I was, forgive me, was it Cat? What's her name?
Cass.
Cass basically just refuses the Doctor's help because at this point, like, she says, "What's the difference between Dalek and Time Lord?" And she ends up dying. The Doctor dies. He gets brought back for 4 minutes and turns into the War Doctor.
Yeah, but there's a lot to unpack in just that 6-minute thing. Because like, Russell T Davies already set the precedent for it in The End of Time, saying that by the end of the Time War, no one could tell the difference between the Daleks and the Time Lords because they became just as bad as each other. And in some cases, the Time Lords were even worse than the Daleks. And that's what really explored in heavy detail on some of the Big Finish Time War box sets with John Hurt as the War Doctor. And then obviously the Gallifrey series, and of course this new guy, Jonathan Carley, playing the younger War Doctor, because John Hurt apparently can't do that anymore for some reason. I can't tell what it is.
Time ran out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. His contract was up. His contract with life. But yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. Okay. But it just showed you how the state of the universe was at the time during the Time War. And also it goes back to an old classic series episode, The Brain of Morbius, where the Fourth Doctor landed on the planet Karn and helped out the Sisterhood of Karn.
Which I was going to ask, because obviously it was referenced in Night of the Doctor that he's been there before like that, and I was going to ask what happened.
But long story short, an old Time Lord president from the old days of Gallifrey somehow landed on the planet and tried to resurrect himself in the new body. It was a very Frankenstein-inspired episode, which is where we got what is known as the Morbius Doctors. In that episode, there's like the Fourth Doctor and Morbius were in a sort of Time Lord wrestling, as they call it, of fighting of the mind, in a way, where we got the first examples of there have been other Doctors before William Hartnell, which was recently confirmed as part of canon with the recent Timeless Children episode.
Too bad that was before Matt Smith's time, because if he was in that, he would have fought Mobius before in Mobius.
I was waiting for the Morbius joke to come in. I was wondering when you were going to do that. No.
Thank you.
No.
Or in other words,
you don't have the authority.
I don't need authority. I have a screwdriver. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
How dare you?
Wizard?
Well, maybe don't keep rewinding time from inside a castle then.
I don't know why. I just said wizard. I figured it'd be funny. That was weird.
Who said you can click on these? Who said you can click on these?
50. You do realize who's paying for the StreamYard, right?
Yeah, but still, I'm setting this up as a surprise. When are you gonna spoil it? Do you also look at your Christmas presents before you Christmas Day?
Yeah, actually, I used to do that when I was a kid. I was a shit child.
You're talking about that guy who doesn't care about the spoilers, so I'm not surprised.
Right. Well, that's it for the Night of the Doctor. So the Day of the Doctor, the direct sequel to Night of the Doctor.
Yep. That I have right above. There we go. Ta-da.
There we go. Nice looking poster.
Darn tune.
So obviously it starts off with the best way that it could have opened the original 1960s William
Agreed.
Hartnell theme, obviously modernized for 2013 effect TV audiences. But then we see the silhouette of what appears to be the first Doctor, only to be revealed later that it was a police officer walking right past the sign of "I am Foreman,"
Yeah.
the sign in 76 Totter's Lane, the junkyard where the TARDIS was found in the very first episode, and then it just transitions into the school, Coal Hill School, the place where it all started, the first proper setting where we get to see Ian and Barbara for the first time, the first proper scene in the show. You see the first ever companions and the current companion at the time, the most modern companion, Clara Oswald, and she's a teacher, which is it always struck me as weird. It's like, okay, so the name of the Doctor happened.
Yeah.
Now what happened there? And then suddenly, it's almost like that never happened, and she's a teacher now. And like, well what happened?
Yeah.
What happened in
I was
between?
gonna ask about that because like I don't remember her ever being introduced as a teacher at Coal Hill. Which before we go further, it was incredibly appropriate that that's how it started. Like I'm not gonna lie, it just wouldn't have felt right in a way. But anyways, yeah, I'm with you. It felt very weird because it was never mentioned once prior to that.
And
She was like a nanny.
Yeah,
Man,
and she never once expressed any intention to want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Man, in the play devil's advocate, then 50, you can help me out here. That episode, high school reunion or something, wasn't she a teacher there already? Wasn't she a teacher somewhere?
No,
She was a nanny.
Yeah, she was looking after these two kids.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're gone. They're completely forgotten. No one ever talks about them. Thank goodness. But still, and suddenly she's a teacher, and like, okay, fine. I love seeing the school again. It's great that they came back to it. But so that scene happens. Then
Maybe he's undercover.
Yeah, maybe.
Undercover is what?
Waiting for Danny Pink. I don't know.
Yeah, waiting for the doctor to show up.
Character that wasn't even introduced yet. But yeah, anyways, that scene is over. She takes a motorcycle ride back to the TARDIS, who just happens to be in the middle of nowhere, and we get a sense that the Doctor and Clara just haven't seen each other for a while.
Yeah. How long? Was it ever mentioned?
It's a Stephen Moffat thing of just accept it. It happened.
Gotcha.
But I love that the Doctor is sitting there reading a book about advanced quantum mechanics, and there's a little icon of a TARDIS on the cover of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And things really start to get rolling with Unit shows up and takes the TARDIS with a helicopter and a crane, and we get reintroduced to Kate Stewart, and also the introduction of Peronella Osgood.
So I remember. I remember the lead up to this coming out and the pictures coming out of Matt Smith hanging from the TARDIS while filming. I remember that.
He really did that? That was really him?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. And you know, that's why I have to agree with you. It should be considered a movie because apparently it does have a movie budget because that did look pretty damn expensive.
It was a big deal back then. Big deal.
Yeah, first of all, you get to see the TARDIS hanging from a helicopter in the middle of Trafalgar Square.
Yeah.
Like, that did attract a lot of attention. On screen and off screen.
I also love how they reference that the crows are robotic. the famous crows at over there. Or is it ravens? Sorry.
They referenced that in this. What exactly are you referring to?
So there, I believe it's the Tower of London. There's always a bunch of crows or ravens or something that are hanging around there. Well, there's actually a line in here. I can't remember the specific line, but it's basically references that they're robotic, that they are just there to keep people away.
Yeah, I remember I remember that line. I did not know that that was like
Yeah, so it's actually a real thing. Like there's a it's a murder. Yeah, there's a murder of crows. Like there something. So there actually is some sort of significance. I can't remember what it is at the moment, but
Huh, well,
Yeah.
well, when I was in London, I very much decided not to go into the Tower of London. So thank you very much. So I didn't know I did not know that. But anyways, they then move into a place I actually did visit, the National Gallery.
oh, you went there. Cool.
Oh yeah, I spent the better part of a day there.
Nice.
And I still somehow did not get to see everything because I arrived pretty late and it was already closing time. But in the National Gallery, we're introduced to this thing:
Mm-hmm.
a painting, but not a painting of a city of Gallifrey, Arcadia, the second city, but not just any painting. It's a Time Lord painting, which means it is bigger on the inside. And
3D.
yeah, it's a 3D, bigger on the inside painting. And we then learn through Matt Smith's Doctor that this was taking place during the last day of the Time War, where the Daleks finally got fed up with fighting the Time Lords on multiple different fronts all over the universe and all through time, and decided to just focus all their efforts on a massive, full frontal assault on Gallifrey from all different sides, breaking the sky trenches and the transduction barriers of Gallifrey, and just bombarding the entire planet, destroying the Citadel and the Panopticon and all the other cities around. Obviously, there was leading up to it. I think it was after the Night of the Doctor. They also released a short called about the fall of Arcadia.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
I can't remember what the name of the short was called, but
Yeah, there
basically,
was 4 shorts leading up to this.
yeah, but it was basically just a point of view type thing where you're being welcomed by guards on Arcadia, and you're watching the transduction barriers fall, and just a barrage of Daleks flying overhead and just starting shooting everything. And obviously, then we see some ground level stuff. We see the Daleks. We get introduced to the War Doctor himself, writing the iconic words "No More" on one of the walls there, and we then are treated to a scene inside the War Council's main room, where we learned that the Doctors penetrated the Omega Arsenal and kidnapped the most dangerous weapon that the Time Lords have ever created, the Moment, because the Time Lords love pompousness and fancy names to weapons of mass destruction.
That they do.
Yeah.
Anyone have something to add up until now?
Well,
No.
I didn't know. I didn't know that. I know that it's going to sound weird. I love the dialect plan of attack. Yeah. It's actually quite smart. They're focusing on one place.
Yeah.
And
Until the end.
Yeah, because up until that point, if you actually go into some, especially on the Big Finish side, the Time War was big, massive assaults on segments of space stretched out for centuries, because Time War, it's in the name. But by the end of it, by the last few days of the Time War, the Daleks decided they had enough of fighting the Time Lords on multiple fronts, spread too thin, so they just pulled all the resources together on a massive assault in Gallifrey. And that's why the Doctor, for a long time, believed that he destroyed all the Daleks, because all the Daleks were there at the time. There were no other Daleks spread across other pockets of the universe.
You mean they're all the best Doctor Who villain, in my opinion.
For
Yeah.
sure.
For sure.
They're never done them creepiest.
They're the Doctor's Joker.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're the Doctor's Joker. The Master is the Doctor's Moriarty.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So moving on from that, we see right after. First of all, the Omega Arsenal. If you don't know what that is, basically it's just a vault where they keep all of the all of the weapons that are considered too dangerous to ever be used, and they make a reference in this episode that they basically already used them all,
Yeah.
except for the moment, because that's just too incredibly dangerous to ever be even considered to be used. The Doctor stole it, landed his TARDIS somewhere, and then just started walking and walking and walking so
Miles.
far. What?
Miles.
Yeah, miles apparently, because he did not want the TARDIS to see. And it's just, if you were about to commit genocide on this type of level, a double genocide, as a matter of fact, wouldn't you want the person you cared about most in the universe to not see you do it?
Amen.
Which is
Yeah,
very,
well, of course.
I loved that. You want to protect them from seeing you like this.
Mhm.
He goes into a barn that apparently he spent some time in as a time tot, and yes, that is the exact wording there.
Is that what that was? Yeah, okay. I must have missed that because I always wondered what that was.
Apparently, young time lords are called time tots. So
Yeah.
leading up to the selection of the selection process, looking into the untempered schism and signing up for the academy, he spent a lot of nights there because he couldn't really handle the pressures of what is to come, the future that is to come, which is where he is introduced to the moment herself, or rather the interface of the moment, in the form of the Bad Wolf, because she wanted to pick a form that would be comfortable for him to that he would feel comfortable with. So she decided to choose a form that he would recognize from his own past, but because he got it a bit mixed up, she picked a form from his future, in the form of the Bad Wolf. So she's not actually. So Billie Piper is here not actually as Rose Tyler, but rather as the Bad Wolf persona.
When this came out,
and for some reason she looks like this. I never really understood if she's the Bad Wolf. Why does she look like this? But whatever. It looks cool, and it gets the point across.
Can I say two things?
You can say more things if you like.
Hey, one is funny and one is nice. The funny one first, kind of having Shaggy didn't come up, but that's neither here nor there. And the second, it's really cool that Billie Piper came back for that.
Agreed.
I really like that. I'm sure she didn't have to come back, but it's nice that she did.
Yeah, they could have brought any other person from the show's history, but it's nice for fans of the modern series that they brought back Billie Piper for this.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts? Like, would you at the time? Would you have rather have her come back as Rose?
I was just happy to see her again. I was just happy that she came back at all. I didn't. Again, I still don't understand why she looks like this, even though it is a cool design for a character, but just having Billie Piper there to some capacity really just made me smile.
Well, I'm not saying this would have made sense, but would have you been happier if not a normal was there instead?
I don't know. It would have been fun. At least it would have been fun to have an acknowledgement of them, for me, anyways. But I don't know, because I'm curious what they're gonna do with the 60th with her, because that's the thing. Like, she dies, right? So it's just like,
she doesn't really die though.
Well, if she remembers, doesn't her brain melt from the inside?
Oh, come on! You really don't think that Russell's gonna find some way to make her remember without dying?
Oh no, for sure. I'm just saying, just based on what we know so far, that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to guess it's going to be an earlier version of her, but before that happened to her.
I'm going with an altered version myself.
Yeah, maybe that.
An older version of her, because we do see Bernard Cribbins was there for a few scenes. Mm-hmm. He was considerably older in the scenes that he shot. He was in a wheelchair. and it wasn't like because of his age. They specifically made him look older for the filming. So
I'm happy he's back too.
Me too. Yeah, exactly. Glad we got him back before he passed.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's I love that one of the last things he ever did was Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You know what? I know would have liked to see Warrior naming come back, but not for Tennant.
Hey man, never say never with what's being seen out there. The three of them were together in the same place not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And there have been several hints that the 11th might show up during the 60th. We've seen some teases towards his costume. Someone wearing his costume was seen on set. So
Matt. Well,
Hey, Matt's.
the only I don't want to say issue. He's really busy right now with House of Dragon. That's the only.
You think that?
thing.
You don't think he's on a break?
yeah, I was gonna ask, didn't that finish
That's
filming?
wrapped up, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're going to be going into season 2 soon.
When are they starting filming?
No, I would love it. I'm just don't want to get my hopes up. I do that too often, and I get disappointed.
Which is fair. But this is one of those rare occasions where it's like all signs point to yes.
Yeah, and even if not, remember, I don't think anyone saw what happened recently in The Power of the Doctor coming. Like, I don't think anyone expected David Bradley to show up, or Colin Baker, or Sylvester McCoy, or Peter Davison, or even Paul McGann for that matter. So yeah, a lot of people were focused on David Tennant, and as Peter Capaldi taught us in his final season, don't look at where the arrow is pointing, look at where it's pointing away from.
Mm-hmm. No, he's done for now. At least that's what he keeps saying.
Well, I think the fact that he keeps repeating it suggests otherwise.
Well, I think it's because he keeps repeating it because people keep asking him.
Yeah, but he always always giving the same answer, and not just dismissing. He's just saying, "I don't fancy it."
Yeah,
and when he gives the same answer, it's you can kind of assume that that's what they told him to say.
Yeah,
it kind of does have like an Andrew Garfield situation.
Yeah, it could be. Now, I want to ask you if they brought Clara back. This is just not meaning to stir anything up. What would you say?
As long as he's not in it too much, I'll be fine with it.
Okay.
But like Ben said, I don't want to get my hopes up.
Okay.
Now, moving on from that, and going back into this, we get a wonderful case of Stephen Moffat foreshadowing with the Bad Wolf showing the Doctor his future, which apparently is a fez dropping out of the sky.
Yeah,
I see that.
And we still don't know why, but somehow we're back to the National Gallery again, which then the Kate Stewart gives the 11th Doctor a sealed note from Queen Elizabeth I, and then we're treated to the return of the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, for a short scene involving the Queen and a Zygon, and then Kate Stewart leads him to the under gallery, where he somehow encounters a fez. And again, I love the Stephen Moffat foreshadowing techniques of showing us the fez here first, and then showing us the 11th Doctor wearing it. And I believe then after that is when the fez makes an appearance in the England scenes.
Yeah, because he's like, stand back. You know, these things could be known to be tricky. You never know what could come out. For example, a fez.
Yeah, and then a fez just falls out of it. So while chasing Queen Elizabeth I, or a Zygon looking like Queen Elizabeth I, we get this comedic moment of him threatening a bunny rabbit,
Mm.
which is just
Mr.
funny.
Rabbit, aren't you?
Oh, that's a money poo.
That was a good scene. I got a pretty big pop in the theater.
Yeah.
And you are basically just a rabbit, aren't you? Yeah, and clearly the Doctor is chasing a Zygon because what does he have? He has a machine that goes ding.
What does it do? It goes ding.
It goes ding. It goes ding. Made it myself. Also, it can boil. It can boil an egg from 30 pages and download comics from the future. We don't know when to stop. Yeah. So then there's a scene with two Queen Elizabeth I, which I guess would say that it's Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Elizabeth I II.
One A and one B.
Yeah.
I like that scene. That's a fun scene.
Yeah, the actress who played Liz was did a pretty good job.
Yeah, especially when you consider that her actual accent is like the furthest thing ever from Queen Elizabeth I, and she did a wonderful job hiding it.
Where is she from? Where is she from?
I think she's Welsh.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
think.
that's quite the far. Yeah, that's quite the difference.
Yeah. Wow.
So, anyways, after some Fez-related shenanigans, the Doctor goes and sees the paintings that were smashed from the inside out. Again, putting that idea in our heads, the foreshadowing that someone or something got out of the paintings, and then, like, in the middle of all that, another fishy shows up, and the Doctor's like, "No, not now, I'm busy."
Oh, this is where I come in.
Yeah, but I just love that the Doctor is at a point in his life right now that this big, massive cosmic temple event is happening. He's like, "Oh, come on! I haven't got time to deal with that right now. Come on! I'm in the middle of something. Can't you just come back later in the episode?" Yeah, I just love Matt Smith's performance in that scene. But then obviously he realizes that that's where the Fez comes in, and that's when you realize that it was actually the Fez that he got all the way back here, which hippity hopped its way all the way through these different points in the Doctor's timeline. We get this great scene of the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor comparing Sonic.
The ultimate contest.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Compensating for what? Which generation? It's a lottery. Oh, he's cool. Look at me. I'm the Doctor. I'm cool. And look, I'm wearing sand shoes.
They're not sand shoes.
Just David Tennant and Matt Smith just have great
chemistry. Oh my lord! I wish we could have gotten more of them together.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. In this particular context, they are this generation's John Pertwee and Patrick Troughton.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because for those of you who don't know, Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee were like the best of friends back in the day, except for when they appeared in Doctor Who together. Because when they were on screen as the Doctors in multi-Doctor stories, or when they were at conventions or other events, they maintained this sort of stage persona where they couldn't stand each other.
I love
and
that.
It worked. Awesome. It worked like hell. It's just every time they were in the room together, you could not get a word in because they kept fighting and kept trying to one-up each other. But the reality is they were the best of friends. Well, go ahead.
And kind of sound like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like that. John Pertwee, of course, was devastated beyond belief when Patrick Troughton passed away, unfortunately. But
that does make sense because of a little bit later when we get the three Doctors of the TARDIS and you get you've redecorated. I don't like it because that makes sense now because Troughton did that in one of the other specials.
Yeah, two of them, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I love that Matt Smith is like, "Oh no, you never do."
Yeah, I love how there's a moment a little bit later. We'll get to it. I'll mention it when we get to the scene.
Okay. Well, I suppose we better go right ahead because then we go back to this barn, and that's when the War Doctor shows up, and the 10th and 11th Doctor, who are seeing their own past catch up to them, quite literally, as a matter of fact, are just shocked at that moment. They're both shocked.
What are you doing
and
here?
And pretty much, yeah, almost horrified.
He
Obviously,
went full Ethan when the way he said that.
I like how he thought they were the companions and not the doctors because they were so young.
Yeah,
that was great.
Wait, you're the Doctor? Yes. Even him? Yes, even me.
Great stuff.
Am I having a midlife crisis? But like I said, these are the types of things that always happen whenever the Doctor meets himself,
which makes sense
in any type of medium. Because I mean, seriously, just try to put it into perspective. If it was you and you met your previous selves or future selves, how would you react? Now, imagine if it was a completely different person, because Time Lords and all that.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be weird.
What would you tell yourself?
Well, it depends.
Don't trust that asshole who comes to you asking for money. That's what I tell him.
Yeah, no shit.
That's what I tell myself.
I don't know.
No one ever tell myself.
With the ride? No,
what?
Actually, you know what? I would impart one line of wisdom if I were to meet my old self, and funny enough, it's a Doctor line. We're all stories in the end. Just make it a good one.
Yeah. So, moving on, then all the Queen Guards show up, and the Doctor comes up with a really great plan of just incarcerating himself with his two co-conspirators, Sancho's and Grandad, in the Tower of London. Because why? That is where Kate Stewart's office is. So he leaves them a message, which we'll come back to later in the episode.
Oh wait, that's what the unit is in the future?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, okay.
Well, Unit is based on several different locations, but it was already set up in the Power of Three that that is where the main headquarters for Unit is at the moment.
And that's why when I brought up the Raven thing earlier, and the mechanical Raven and the historical thing. It's like that's why it's just like it was a mechanism to keep people away.
Yeah.
So he leaves a message for Kate Stewart in the Tower of London. Meanwhile, Kate and Clara are going to the Black Archive. Meanwhile, still back in the Undergallery, it is revealed by Osgood and some other guy that the statues that were in the Undergallery were actually Zygons, and then later, obviously, in the episode, it's revealed that they're the ones that escaped from the painting, and they're now coming after the Doctor, and they're trying to stop Clara from using a vortex manipulator to travel back in time to find the Doctor.
But not just any vortex manipulator. One bequeathed to Unit by one Captain Jack Harkness when he died, or one of his many deaths.
No, on the occasion of his death. Well, one of them.
Yeah.
Really, I do have one question. I'm sorry, but
that's what we're here for.
Zygons. Do they go back to the classic series too?
Oh yeah, they were actually David Tennant's favorite when he was growing up.
Okay.
That was his favorite.
So he must have had a field day making out with one.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with Venom Sax in the tongue. So just the idea that he comes back chasing Zygons in this scene is just David Tennant is just the ultimate fan boy experience, because not only he got to play the Doctor, he got to play the Doctor alongside Elizabeth Sladen as the Sarah Jane Smith, and then later he got to fight Zygons, and
got to do something with the Fifth Doctor. Got to do something with Peter.
Got to do a little bit more than just a
and
something.
then married the Doctor and gave produced the Doctor's grandchild. It's really weird. It's really weird. That's one of my favorite memes. Is like somebody asked him at panels, like, "What's the weirdest gift that a fan has ever given you?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." Someone from the audience, like a grandchild. It's true.
One of my favorite moments from Doctor Who conventions and such is like the Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann were in a convention once, and they were taking questions from the audience. And one fan asks all four of them. She's like, which of the modern era Doctors is your favorite? And then she says, and Peter, you can't pick David. And he's like, oh, come on. It feels so restrictive. And then obviously then Colin Baker just goes on and says, oh, well, I actually do like David Tennant. And then Davison is like, normally I would agree with my colleague, but apparently I'm not allowed to. So I'll just sit here quietly.
That's pretty good.
That was... And of course... Go ahead.
I mean, I'm going to make a joke. I mean, it's like things like I don't even exist.
Okay.
But yeah,
Harry Potter.
Continue on. Did I miss something?
I'm Switzerland. I have no opinion.
Oh, okay.
It's that's Home Improvement reference for Ben.
Oh, okay. Whoosh over my head.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
so yeah, then there's that scene where finally we get some a more dramatic scene between the three Doctors talking about the children of Gallifrey and how many children were there, and just is 400 years. Is that all it takes for me to forget? And here's something that a lot of people just seem to overlook for some reason. That when the Matt Smith Doctor mentions being about 1,200 years old, and the War Doctor says, okay, so 400 years older than me. If you actually do the math, that means he's 800 years old.
Yep.
When he regenerates into Eccleston. So Eccleston spent about 100 years as the Doctor.
That's right, because he said he's 900 and something when we.
Well, he claims he's 900 because, spoiler alert, the Sixth Doctor also claimed he was 900 at one point or another. And then when the Seventh Doctor regenerated, he claimed to be 953 years old. And then obviously then there's the Eighth Doctor, who spent a butt ton of time as the Doctor in audios, comics, and novels. And then obviously the Time War itself lasted for 400 years. So yeah, the Doctor lies about his age consistently. That's why even in that scene, in this scene specifically, Matt Smith says, I can't even remember if I'm lying about my age. That's how old I am.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, and then there's that wonderful scene with the Bad Wolf of all three Doctors realizing that they can actually get out of the cell by the War Doctor sonicking the door, setting it as a permanent subroutine. It still goes on in the 10th Doctor's sonic. I almost said lightsaber. It still goes on in the 10th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. The program is complete in the 11th Doctor's screwdriver. You had this shit is wonderful, great moment of just being the same Doctor with different faces and all that, and then Clara shows up and ruins everything again because that's what she does.
Well, I thought that was a funny joke because of the
I was thinking about this. I love that bit. I thought that was the funniest.
It's a funny joke. It's a funny joke. But actually, no. This is what I was referencing earlier when I said there was a line that makes me laugh, and it's when Matt Smith chuckles to himself, and they go, "What?" He's like, "They just realize this is what it's like when I argue with myself."
This is what I'm like when I'm alone.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's a good joke. Why does it have to come at the expense of the Doctor again? Haven't we done that enough?
50, let it go.
No, I will not let it go. I refuse to let it go. I am not Elsa.
Let it go. Let it go. Let me tell this thing.
You don't have the authority. I don't need authority. I have a screwdriver. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
How dare you, sir? How dare you, sir? Anyway, Yeah, well, you know what? Mine doesn't do that, but mine's actually been to an actual war. So suck at that.
Mine pop is open.
Oh, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Ever try to drop a penny into a cup from a mile in the air?
I promise you, folks, this is not just us playing clips.
No, this is just me playing clips. Anyways, so after learning the secrets of the Zygons and who the real Queen Elizabeth I is, the Doctor actually does what he said he did at the end in the opening of the End of Time Part 1. He gets married to Queen Elizabeth I. He says, "I will be back, my love," and never actually comes back,
Yep.
which is how we get the connection to the Shakespeare Code. Several years after that is always the thing with Doctor Who. Some of these plot points you have to wait a few years, sometimes a decade, or close to a decade, to see them resolved. But anyways,
It's a long con, but it pays off.
yeah, just like showing us the Night of the Doctor. Why isn't the there we go. The picture was having a problem. So yeah, showing us the Sisterhood of Khan and the 50th anniversary, and showing it us again several years later, and then several years after that, coming back around to it with the Morbius Doctors and the Time Children. That being said, the hold on, the images were out of order there. Then they get the idea. No, sorry. Then they have this scene in the TARDIS where we talked about earlier with the different interfaces of the TARDIS switching around, eventually landing on the new Matt Smith TARDIS, before having the idea that the only way that they can probably enter is by entering themselves into the painting itself, and then using a Dalek to smash through the painting and exit. What?
Cup of soup.
Yeah, cup of soup. What is cup of soup? No idea. And then using smashed Dalek to smash through the painting, coming out in the Black Archive. Sorry, while Kate Stewart, being Kate Stewart again, trying to blow things up, and the doctors being very, very defiant about it, telling them to stop to cancel the detonation and make a deal between the humans and the Zygons, which apparently we never actually get to see. But how they do that is they make everyone all six of them, I should say, forget which one is the human, which one is the Zygon, to ensure the best deal possible. Which is then obviously again plot points resolved after several years. We get to see that in the Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion, the Capaldi two-parter. What do you feel about that scene? Are you feeling a bit disappointed that we never actually get to see them making the deal?
No, not necessarily. Not really.
Not me.
I think we got enough of what's going on with the scene with Osgood and the scene with Kate. Those little scenes. I think that was, for me, I think that was enough.
It was enough, and counting the day of the Doctor and the two-parter we get a few years later, it's a nice little story arc we have here. And goes from the divorce for Doctors, if you really think about it.
Yeah. It took 4 Doctors to make that serial, but it worked. The end result was the Capaldi speech at the end, which is just still one of the greatest Doctor moments of all time.
Right.
And at that point, the War Doctor decides that he's seen enough. He's satisfied. He goes back to the barn to try and push the big red button to do the thing he dreaded the entire time, destroy Gallifrey. And can I just say, as far as the imagery goes, I love the imagery of, we see the War Doctor in the center, and on his right side we see Matt Smith with his TARDIS and Clara, and on the other side we see David Tennant with his TARDIS and Billy Piper, even though it's not actually.
I never caught that.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I didn't. Billy Piper blends into the background so well, you don't really see her.
Dude,
That's
that's
kind of
a
the
great
point.
observation.
Yeah, just imagery wise, the 11th Doctor and Clara, the 10th Doctor and a Billy Piper character with their two TARDISes there, just a great cinematography. It's just it's a great poster. You can put that on a if only the background wasn't blurry. I mean, you can barely see Clara's face, which not a problem for me, but you can also barely see Billy Piper's face there. If it wasn't for
You're
if it
cool. You're cool, man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, if it wasn't for the blurriness, this would have made a great poster.
Oh, gotcha. But not gonna lie, the poster we got was pretty damn great on it.
Yeah, that was also that. Okay, let me rephrase that. That's it. What's there behind you is a great poster. This is a good screenshot.
That's
good
a great
screen grab.
image.
Great image, yeah. Great piece of art. And obviously, then later, when the three doctors decide to do it, and again, I still love Matt Smith on the right, David Tennant on the left, and you get Clara and Rose next to their respective TARDISes.
Yeah.
That and the War Doctor still in the middle. But then, right before they decided to do that, they get visions of what's happening on Gallifrey at the time during the Daleks, and then during when they actually decide to press the bomb, and then they get new visions of Gallifrey saved, no Daleks, bright skies, and just the war is over, and all the Time Lords were saved. And that is when the Doctors decide to change their mind and come up with a brand new plan, which, again, it goes back to what we said earlier, the plan for the Daleks. And I think you said that, Ben. Just surround Gallifrey from all different sides and bombard it as much as possible. And the Doctors think, what if Gallifrey wasn't there? What if the entire planet was missing and the Daleks just destroy themselves in their own crossfire? Which is basically what they did by putting the entire planet of Gallifrey into a painting right here and there.
Gallifrey Falls.
So, before we move on, anything to say about this scene, specifically the scene in the barn?
No, I don't know. I liked Clara in the scene because just seeing her point of view, like she's actually seeing what is considered the darkest day of the Doctors. One of the darkest days in the Doctor's life.
Or in other words, the day of the Doctor.
Day. So it's just I like her just like where she says basically like I've heard you talk about it. I just never thought it would be you, you know.
As in the 11th Doctor.
As in the 11th Doctor. I really thought Jenna Coleman did a great job in this scene acting wise.
And that really,
but again, that is another reminder of why the Doctor travels with a companion, with a human companion, because the Doctor is a Time Lord. He does not have what people. That's what he needs a human to, or rather, he or she need a human to center as their moral center, their moral compass. Because we have seen on more than one occasion what the Doctors are capable of when they're on their own. Just sometimes sometimes they're great characters like Sarah Jane, and sometimes they're Clara Oswald. Anyways, moving on to the next scene, we have the War Council back to this room again. With I believe it's called the 12th General. I think that's his official name. But the General and all three Doctors talking, and he's like, "Oh dear God, three of them! All my worst nightmares at once." Obviously, there's the scene where they're talking about freezing Gallifrey in a painting, and you can't really see it in this big image right here, but if you actually do look closely in that scene, on the TARDIS console, Matt Smith actually forgot the script for the episode, just lying there on the console.
Was it in the shot you just had up?
Not in this shot, but it's there. You can see it several different times. And you know what? They still haven't fixed it. They can Photoshop that out with no problem. They still didn't do that.
It's like the Starbucks cup in that one episode of Game of Thrones in the final season.
Yeah, it's like what was his name? Watch guy, the guy from The Mandalorian who just happened to wander into the set. T-shirt guy, whatever his name is. But yeah, it's just that wonderful bit of whoopsie that has been immortalized in an episode of Doctor Who, and it's like, and this is a bit of a history with Doctor Who, because sometimes there's an episode from the William Hartnell era called the Daleks' Invasion of Earth, which is the basis for the second Peter Cushing movie, Dalek Invasion Earth 2160, 2150. Sorry, but in that scene, and in that scene, there's what's called the blind Dalek. So basically, there's a scene where I can't remember if it is the Doctor. It might just be no, yeah, it is. It's the Doctor and a few other characters just standing in this hallway with their backs against the wall, right next to a door, and it's like 3 or 4 Daleks rolling past them, and obviously they're Daleks. Their eye stalks are in the front. You can only see what's in front of them. You can see like 3 or 4 Daleks rolling past them, not seeing them. And one Dalek, apparently the guy inside forgot to spin the dome around, so the eye stalk is pointing directly at the Doctor for a minute, for like a hot second, and then just keeps on rolling because that's in the script. And it's like, oh, the Dalek just stared right into the Doctor's face and he couldn't see him. And because of how the show was run at the time, they did not have the budget to do retakes. So they just kept it in there, which is just funny. And yeah, and speaking of the first Doctor, after the 12th Doctor hears the Doctor's plan, which is crazy in and of itself, he says that even if it was possible, which it isn't, the calculations alone would take hundreds of years. To which the Doctors, plural, reply by saying, "Oh, hundreds and hundreds, but don't worry, I started a very long time ago."
Oh God!
You might say, I've been doing this all my life. With all the different TARDISes floating around Gallifrey, and you see clips from previous episodes showing up. It looks like Christopher Eccleston was there after all. And then the general was like, I didn't know where I was well off. All 12 of them. No, sir. All 13.
Yeah.
Holding the attack eyebrows.
Dude,
Capaldi's first scene.
Theater erupted out of their seats when this happened. Now, keep in mind, when I'd seen it theaters, it had already been out a week, and I remember the big chatter, but to see that moment in theaters was just, the whole theater went whoosh up out of their seats.
I imagine it was kind of like the Porter's moment.
I was gonna ask that. Was that comparable to the portal scene?
Yeah, I would put portals here, but it's similar feeling. It was kind of like a precursor to the portal scene in a way.
Yeah, because yet again, that's another thing that Doctor Who did first, and everyone else just copied it. But I think the portal scene is longer.
Oh, of course.
Well, it is longer than just the one moment, but I think it also might be longer than just the "I've been doing this all my lives" conversation.
Well, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to admit that was London, but no, you're in Canada. I wonder if that was big. Like, if that was enough over here, I wonder if it would have been a big reaction like that.
Well, I saw it in Vancouver. So, no, it was a lot of Doctor Who fans, man. And yeah, I do think it would have been a big reaction, because you got to remember, when this came out, I would argue it was when Doctor Who was at its apex of its popularity. I don't think it's ever been as big as it was around the 50th.
Well, we shall see with the 60th. But I mean, remember, when you say that, you got to take into consideration how massive Doctor Who was in the 70s and 80s.
Right. But you got to remember, 50, that a lot of people haven't watched the 70s and 80s stuff.
I'm talking about how the people viewed it back then.
Gotcha.
The people who were alive back then.
I think you're not talking about the modern times.
Yeah.
No, I'm just referring to like the show as it is. Like it was big for a lot of people when the Paul McGann movie came out. The movie didn't do so well, but still.
Right. but it would experience an even bigger boom when Tennant left and Matt Smith was announced.
True. Yeah.
That's what I'm referring to, because that's why I do think that was the highest point of its popularity. I'm not arguing that it was never popular. I'm
No,
saying
I never said you were. I never said that's what you were saying.
Right.
But I think
it was at that point where Doctor Who had reached the biggest possible audience.
So you're referring to the 50th or when
The 50th. I'm talking the 50th. Because by that point because by that point the nerdiness of pop culture was more accessible. Because think about it, in the 70s and 80s, it was being a nerd was still something that you were hush hush about. But when the 50th was going on, being a nerd was in vogue. So more people.
I mean, hey, the Avengers happened a year ago.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I will concede to that. And obviously, then after we get treated to the attack eyebrows.
I love that.
Oh God, yeah.
And I love how they did it. They were very, very careful not to show Capaldi's outfit.
Very smart.
Because they haven't actually decided what he was going to look like just yet. And even he was asked in interviews, it was like, it was great seeing you in the 50th. It was like, I didn't really do much. I mean, I just did this.
Yeah, I was there.
No, you didn't see what I was doing.
Sorry.
Like I didn't really do much. All I did was just.
Pretty much. This is all he did. Yeah.
Still a great moment, regardless.
Oh,
immortalized in Doctor Who history from that point on. And then
I think I have attack eyebrows. Look at my eyebrows.
Oh, you definitely have attack eyebrows.
You've got some pretty intimidating eyebrows. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know who also had great attack eyebrows though?
Who?
Schnipp.
Yeah.
He had amazing He had like Doctor Strange eyebrows.
God.
He had a killer beard too.
Yeah, and
I
think there was that one episode of Heroes where where they were talking about how about the whole the discussion about people not recognizing Clark Kent with the Superman when he's without the glasses, and he's like, no, people actually do look different without their glasses. That's a thing. And I think Robert Burnett told him, "What do you look without your glasses?" And he takes them off, and I remember seeing that and just, oh my God, he's Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah,
like he looks like without his glasses, he looks like Doctor Strange.
He does. That's all. Yeah,
and I'm talking
of it.
And I'm talking comic book Doctor Strange, not movie Doctor Strange.
Just because that would have been before. That would have been before movie Doctor Strange, right?
I think it might have been around the same time. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was right around the same time. I miss the big man. I miss him.
We all do. We all do. But on the bright side, now he gets to hang out with Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one can only imagine the conversation.
And Minnie White.
Yeah. There's a lot.
So, like I said, after the attack eyebrows moment, we get this other iconic moment of Geronimo Alonzi.
Oh, for God's sakes!
Yeah, you ruined my trilogy. Geronimo Alonzi Gallifrey stands.
Yeah. But you forgot the for God's sakes, Gallifrey stands. There's more to it.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have a catchphrase, so we just came up with one on the spot. Then all three of them arrive at the National Gallery looking at the painting that they kind of helped create, in a way.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then the War Doctor leaves, not before saying another Stephen Moffat line, "If I grow to be half the man that you are, Clara Oswald, I should be very happy indeed."
I honestly don't. This is me. I don't think that's how it was intended to come off. I really don't think that he was intended to say like Clara Oswald's the man in the group. I think it was more like Clara, like as on. I think he put too much emphasis on the word Clara. I really do, because it sounds like he's trying to say like it'll be my pleasure to see you in the future, Clara. That's how it always read to me.
Yeah, but because Stephen Moffat is Stephen Moffat, he wrote that line specifically that way. Because also later in Robots of Sherwood, I know who the leader of the group now. He just walks past the Doctor and Robin Hood, and it's like Clara. Because of course,
because if you remember, Robin Hood wanted in Clara's pants, so of course he's going to try to flatter Clara.
I think we're both talking about completely different scenes, man.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm talking about what the robot Robin Hood's intentions were.
No, that dude, you have this weird misunderstanding of what I'm saying today.
Okay,
but I'll let it slide for now. And then obviously the War Doctor gets inside his TARDIS, and we finally get his regeneration scene. Sadly, we don't actually get to see Eccleston because he still refused to be there. And immortalized again in Doctor Who, the War Doctor's final words are, "I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time."
Nice.
Because Stephen Moffat is funny, right? Get it? It's
Oh, 50 where? Oh, 50, where did Stephen Moffat hurt you?
When he introduced Clara,
I love Stephen Moffat, but sometimes he just puts stuff like that out there. And then obviously we get another moment of Stephen Moffat making a reference because apparently David Tennant still doesn't want to go. And he actually, as a matter of fact, he didn't want to go that badly that he came back again.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously Clara gives the Doctor a kiss. She goes back inside the TARDIS, and the Doctor is contemplating on maybe someday becoming the great curator of the Undergallery, realizing that I really think he might.
Yeah. Oh, this is another moment. This was not like eruption. This was like gasp.
Yeah. This is one of the moments I really have this entire time of just seeing one of the returning classic Doctors. Yeah. And of course it had to be Tom.
Right.
Of course it had to
before that.
Yeah, because the history between Tom Baker and Doctor Who is a little weird. I said last week something that I believe to be true for many years, and after doing a bit of research, I would like to retract my comments about that because I found out they were completely wrong. The reason Tom Baker did not appear in the Five Doctors was because he didn't want to, because he felt like that was too soon after his departure. And actually, after that, he spent a lot of years lamenting the fact that he left. He didn't even want to come back to Big Finish for many years. That's why all the Doctors were on Big Finish already. Since 1999, Tom Baker's first official return as the Doctor in Big Finish was somewhere around 2012.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So in this scene, 50, was he the Doctor?
He was the curator. Yeah, I tried to upload the GIF.
Knows.
Yeah, I tried to upload that GIF of him doing that, but apparently it's too big for StreamYard or something stupid like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that is something that the Fourth Doctor was known for doing, right?
There is several moments that he does. He wasn't very famous for it. It's not like the 10th Doctor with Alon Z.
No, but it was still something that was.
It was still something he did regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was gonna say he only came back to a Big Finish in 2012, and obviously he did the Nest Cottage Chronicles before that, but nobody really talks about those. But I just felt like someone was going to point it out in the comments, so I just wanted to cover all my bases. That being said, Tom Baker still looks great in this scene.
Right. Oh, God, yeah. Obviously much older, but...
Yeah, much older, but for context and for reference, this is what Tom Baker looks like now.
Yes, I did see that. Yes. Wow. He's definitely aged quite a bit.
But still, I mean...
But you could still see the Doctor in there.
Yeah,
he still is the Doctor through and through.
You could see it in his eyes.
Is
And
he
it's
going to pop? Is he going to be pop up in the 60th?
I don't know.
I hope so, but again,
he's always.
he's look. I mean, just look at how he looks in this picture, and he's been ill for many years. He
Yeah.
just straight up
Yeah.
stopped doing Doctor Who conventions, especially
Uh,
overseas, because he just physically can't do that.
I didn't know that. Okay, I'm sorry.
But at least we still have these.
You exist, therefore I'm long gone. And you don't hear me complaining.
Well, yes, I do. You're doing it now.
Yeah, that was from the first Out of Time when the 10th Doctor and the 4th Doctor.
That was one of my favorite ones I've listened to so far.
Yeah. But so yeah, after that scene, which again, it's another classic example of Stephen Moffat writing of the 11th Doctor asking what is essentially believed to be his future self, is that what I'm supposed to do now? Find Gallifrey, and he says that I'm afraid that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
If I were you, or perhaps I was you, or perhaps you are me.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
perhaps,
yeah. Or perhaps it doesn't matter anyway. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, like I said, Stephen Moffat writing, you could do it, but maybe you don't have to. Maybe it doesn't matter anyway. Who knows? And really, it's just the philosophy that Stephen Moffat brings to his stories sometimes. Because people are always asking about canon and how does that fit into canon. It could do it, but it also couldn't. Does it matter? No, it does not.
Yeah.
It's a story. That's all it is.
Yeah,
And
well,
very well put by Tom Baker in this scene. And then obviously we get that wonderful final shot of the Doctor looking towards the future, looking at Gallifrey with all of his former selves just standing there.
That's not really interesting, next lieutenant.
No, everyone that wasn't in the movie, so everyone outside of Hurt, Smith, it was all stand-ins, and they CGI'd. Like if you take a look, Tom Baker's face. No, yeah, see, there you go. But go back to the last 150. Take a look at fourth. Like that is so. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you can tell from even look at Pertwee's coat. You can tell that they're just flat 2D images, but they did bring actual people, which is weird. It's just weird to me because they actually brought actual people to stand in wearing their outfits.
Yep.
They just CGI their faces on, and somehow the clothes don't look all that good. I don't understand what happened there.
It looks fine when you're watching it as part of the show, but when you actually just show an image like this, that's when it's really noticeable.
Yeah, but I do love that William Hartnell is standing at the back with all the other ones in the front. It's a great way to organize them.
Yeah,
and also
that was my desktop background for a long time.
Oh wow!
Cool. Yeah,
but and also it's a great arrangement for them. You got the first Doctor standing at the back, right behind the 11th. Then you got two on the right, three on the two on the left. Then three on the right, four on the left, five on the right, and so on and so forth. It only really gets weird once you get to the ones that were actually in the special, because McGann standing next to Nick. Well, the McGann standing next to Hurt, and the Eccleston standing next to Tennant.
Yeah.
They could have just flipped the two around, but whatever. And that is the Day of the Doctor. Anyone has any other thoughts to add?
It'll always be, well, it's going to take a lot for it to be dethroned as my favorite Doctor Who thing ever. That's my
right now it's time for Power of the Doctor for me. That's my favorite.
Nice.
Power of the Doctor was great.
It was.
At least that's the opinion amongst the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
Or put it that way.
Hey, we have the most important opinion right here, right?
You have the most important opinions of anyone on this screen.
Yeah, because the three of us were always right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I also just And for those of you wondering, or rather, for those of you who watched the episode and wanted more from John Hurt as the War Doctor, obviously we got him in 4 box sets for Big Finish, where we got to have this clip that I played here
You
earlier.
don't have the authority. I don't need authority. I have a screwdriver. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
And yeah, we got all these wonderful, great moments of just John Hurt being John
Tell
Hurt.
me this, Lieutenant. Are the KGB particularly fond of pranks?
And all these other moments.
You won't want to be standing there.
Sorry, that was the. But I'll just. And obviously, of course, we didn't have him for long. Obviously,
No,
we
at least
had.
we got him.
But it's amazing that we actually did get to have him for as long as we did. And again, just like I said earlier, Bernard Cribbins, one of the last things he did before he passed was the Doctor Who audios.
Yeah.
And now later in the range, because they had actually planned more audios with with John Hurt, or rather with the War Doctor, but then obviously his untimely passing got in the way. So they did a couple of box sets with Paul McGann before going back to the War Doctor as a younger person with this guy Jonathan Carley, and that's Jonathan with an O, Jonathan for some reason, playing a younger John Hurt, and it's almost indistinguishable who will be between the two. Because the guy sounds spot on, perfect impersonation of John Hurt, which is amazing. And I actually brought in a couple of these audio clips to play. I wanted to play a little game just to see if you can actually tell which is which.
Much as I'd love to hear you quoting the rule book, please can you save it when I'm having trouble getting to sleep?
That's the other guy.
Okay.
I'm going to say that.
What did you say, Ben?
I'm going to nothing. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Is it John Hurt or is it the other?
Yeah, I'm going to say John Hurt.
Okay.
Standing there. You won't want to be standing there.
What do you think?
You won't want to be standing there.
That one sounds even less like John Hurt to me.
You won't want to be standing there.
Still nothing, Ben?
No.
I'm not a wizard!
Well, maybe don't keep rewinding time from inside a castle then.
That
John
one.
Hurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with John Hurt on that one.
Okay, how about this?
Tell me this, Lieutenant. Are the KGB particularly fond of pranks?
That one.
John Hurt.
Ever try to drop a penny into a cup from a mile in the air?
Also John Hurt.
New one.
Yeah. So you're saying the new one, Ben?
Yeah.
And obviously there's that one.
You don't
earlier.
have the authority. I don't need authority. I have a screwdriver. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
New guy.
Then so you're saying the new guy?
Yeah.
What?
No, I think that one's Hurt.
Well, you would be correct, sir, because
You
this
don't have the authority.
is
I
John
don't
Hurt.
need authority. I have a screwdriver. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
There. Yes, sir. This
Ever
one?
try to drop a penny into a cup from a mile in the air?
John Hurt.
Tell me this.
This one?
Lieutenant. Are the KGB particularly fond of pranks?
Is also John Hurt.
I'm
This
not a
one-
wizard.
Well,
Is the other guy.
Okay.
You said it was John Hurt. It was the other guy.
You won't want to be standing there.
Also the new guy. And
Much
this-
as I'd love to hear you quoting the rule book, please can you save it when I'm having trouble getting to sleep?
is also the new guy.
Oh.
So,
You're right. He is pretty darn good.
yeah,
Yep.
he's just great. And obviously, you can tell that he's doing a younger John
Yeah.
Hurt as opposed to an older John Hurt, which is actually part of the story. But what I know, another thing that I love about the 50th anniversary special is they pretty much, for the most part, they covered all the Doctors in a way.
Oh,
We talked earlier about the 8th Doctor getting his due in the Night of the Doctor. They covered the first and a little bit of the second Doctor in An Adventure in Time and Space.
mhm.
Obviously, the 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors in the and obviously the War Doctor in Day of the Doctor. Even the 9th Doctor got to have a scene in the Day of the Doctor, which was also a scene, which is it's just a scene that was taken from his final episode on television. That is, the 3rd Doctor was sort of Mark Gatiss dressed as him during the filming of the final scenes for An Adventure in Time and Space. So that kind of covers him. The 4th Doctor, obviously, Tom Baker, literally in Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And as for the 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors, they got to do their own thing in the 5-ish Doctors reboot, where it was revealed that it was actually them in this as the stand-ins for the statue in the origin in the.
Yeah, I saw that years ago. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, and it's just as a Doctor Who fan, especially as a fan of the classics, it is I would highly recommend checking that one out. But that is a story for another time. There you go. Took a long time to get there, but I got there in the end. So, gentlemen,
Where?
final thoughts about Day of the Doctor, or should we wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, no, I can't gush any more about it. Like I said, there's a reason why it was number 100 on top 100 all-time favorite movies for me. So,
Which, by the way, have you shot that one yet, or?
no, actually, what I'm going to be doing is, then somewhere down the line, I'm actually going to be doing a tournament fights over on Jordan's channel based off of that list.
What does tournament fights mean?
Basically, it's just basically a giant tier ranking, basically like a bracket fight based off of my list.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be tough to pull off. But thankfully, I don't have to do that.
Videos they usually do it in.
Okay, that was. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, what was that?
Well, I don't know. Someone just, I think there might be someone fooling around with bikes. Maybe it's time we wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with Ben now. Where can we find you and the Top Gun guy hanging out next?
You guys can find me later tonight. I'll be on my YouTube channel celebrating my 100 subscribers. We're doing a live stream. Come to step by. We're at the Multiverse of Kingdom. I have a show basically every day over there. Come check that out. And I'm on Northern Countdown, and we might not take release to you guys. So, yeah.
The Top Gun guy? The Top Gun guy? I've been waiting to say that the whole show. Anyways, Mr. Sandshoes and Granddad, when you're not building Lego Batman sets, where can the good people of the interwebs find you?
You can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter over at soda_the_saxman. You can find me on the shows on this channel that Ben has mentioned already. And you can also find me Friday nights over on the Let's Get Ready Network over on the Blokes of Wrestling, the wrestling podcast over there.
Right. And as for me, when I'm not talking about the greatest show in the galaxy on this channel, or talking about top 5 favorite stuff with these two on the other shows that they've mentioned, I also have my own YouTube channel called 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. And by the time this comes out, I'm hoping that I would have uploaded the final episode on season 1. It's a little bit of a weird scheduling thing to me because well, actually, no need to get into that right now. But I also did the Black Panther Wakanda Forever review on my channel, so we go ahead and check out that. And on this channel, a frequent guest to this channel, I should say, is Mr. Snark. He's also has his own show on this very same channel called "Have You Seen This?" where he talks about what I like to call lesser television because it's not Doctor Who. And you can also check out our good buddy Taco on his channel, Something to Talk About, where I regularly appear. And I did the Geek Gauntlet last month, so that was pretty fun. For some reason, even after all this time, I'm still referencing all of our other friends from our other circles and their shows, even though just no point in doing that anymore, but I still do it anyway.
Yeah, you're being nice.
Yeah, or as the doctor would say, I was being kind.
Oh, there you go.
So that is it for us in the Day of the Doctor. And should we do the 3 Doctor thing that they did? So, sorry, should we do this moment as our signing off?
Okay, who's what?
I'm Tennant, obviously.
Smith.
Yeah.
That would, well, I mean, since you're the oldest, you gotta be.
Actually, Ben is the oldest by a couple months.
Well, then there we go. So he's John Hurt.
Yeah, what do I say?
Okay, so you say Gallifrey stands, right?
No, but apparently, according to you, he's got to say, "Oh, for God's sake!"
There you go.
Oh no! Oh, for God's sake! Okay.
Gallifrey stands. Okay, I started off right.
Gentlemen,
Geronimo.
no, gentlemen.
Geronimo.
Alonzi.
Oh no! For God's sake!
Okay. Scrap that. We're doing it again. We're doing it live. Gentlemen.
Geronimo.
Alonzi.
Oh God! For God's sake! Gallifrey and stands.